Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen. Guys, hopefully you joined me on the live stream yesterday of the game Hibernian 1 Rangers 4 in what was a fantastic performance by the Gers last night in Edinburgh. Guys, almost makes you think, can we play in Edinburgh every single week, given the fact, obviously, that we demolished Hearts as well at Tynecastle. Now we demolish Hibernian at Easter Road. It's just something, before the game, seeing those green and white scarves that kind of just winds you up, doesn't it? I think maybe wind the players up a little bit as well, fake green and whites and all that, and how scummy teams playing green and white. Maybe that was the case. I don't know. Anyway, it was a great performance by Rangers. Really convincing performance by the boys. I thought that the caliber of football played throughout the game, apart from the first few minutes when that bit of dodgy defending led to that goal, was absolutely superb by Rangers. Really was impressed with the quality of play overall by the team. Just like I said, super stuff by the boys. You look at the team that was put out there last night. I think the team was spot on. I don't think you would have changed that team. That was the strongest team that we had. McGregor in goal, obviously. Tavernier right back, Goldson, Davis and Barisic, your back four, Jack, Raskin and Cantwell in midfield, Fashion Jr., Kent and Colak. Subs, obviously, McLaughlin, Lundstrom, Hadji, Matondo, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield and Devine. That was a very strong lineup that Michael Beale named, and it was a very much a quality performance. So we're going to run through a little bit about the game. Start off with here on this video. Then we'll talk a little bit about the players that really stood out, and sort of then bring it together at the end. So please, guys, hang on to the end for obviously we'll look at some of the best players, man of the match, who your man of the match was. Let me know anywhere in the comments below. Remember to hit that sub, ring that notification. We are already growing the channel, doing really well from the live stream last night. So please help us maintain that momentum by hitting that sub, ringing that notification bell, and giving this video a like. Well, obviously the game didn't start quite the way we wanted it to start, did it? Obviously Hibs scored first, and with some pretty awful defending. The ball was swung across, swung into the box from the left-hand side. Hoppy, I think the guy's name is, got free at the back post, was just allowed to run, push the ball across the box, and unfortunately for Connor Goldson, he turned the ball into his own net. It's an ironic thing, isn't it? 5 goals, and Rangers scored all 5 goals last night. So, yeah, I mean, own goal. But it was awful defending in the lead up to the goal. I suppose it's, when that ball smashed across that box like that, and you try to clear it as a defender, it can go anywhere. So obviously no blame really attached to Connor Goldson. Obviously then Rangers responded pretty much straight away with a penalty from Tav. Again, the referee let the penalty go to VAR. Why? I don't know. It was a stonewaller. You watch the penalty back, you watch the incident back, and you watch Kent. Kent has a heavy first touch. That's for granted. But then he tries to, then as he turns, his back leg is dragged away from underneath him by the boy who slid through on him. It's almost like dragged back with the arm. It was pretty blatant. It almost seems today that, I don't know, refs are a bit too scared to give penalties now and rely on VAR too much. So obviously the VAR came out. Thank God the Rangers players didn't give up on that, and the VAR was used. Obviously, he gave the penalty, and Tav steps up, and although Marshall guesses the right way, he smashes it in the back of the net to make it 1-1. After that, I think, Rangers really did put Hibs under the cosh, didn't they? They really were chapping on the door for the entire game. But, especially in that first half, I think you look at that first half, Rangers could have scored a number of goals. They could have easily gone in at half-time 4-5, 6-1 up. The chances that were not taken in that. The Barisic volley that was saved at point blank range by Marshall. Colak had a shot block, one over the top. Sakala missed one. There was a number of chances missed. Ryan Kent missed. There was obviously a number of chances missed by Rangers in that first half. But obviously then, great move and assist by Sakala. Great ball into the box, beautifully turned into the back of the net by Antonio Colak. Great goal. Colak looked lively all night. He looked He was a threat all night, and he did very, very well for me. So yeah, good goal there to make us 2-1. And like I said, it quite easily could have been 4-5-6-1 going into half time with the performance that the boys put in the first half. Second half, Rangers came out, and I think really did obviously, do something they didn't do in the Kilmarnock game on Saturday. They put the game to bed, really. They didn't take their foot off the gas until near the end when all those subs came on. It kind of broke up the rhythm of the game. Obviously, we had the goal for Fashion Sakala. Sakala, a goal he deserved. I thought he did very well. I think he does lack a bit of composure at times. Sakala's better when he doesn't have to think. I think that's when he's best. He just has to get the ball, run, cross it in the box, or shoot. That's when Sakala is best. And the third goal kind of came as a bit of a defensive ricket from Hibernian. Marshall smacks the ball out. It breaks. Ryan Jack, lovely cushioned header. Sakala turns, smashes it in the back of the net. 3-1 Rangers. Dodgy defending, but a good finish by Fashion Sakala all in. And then obviously the fourth goal, Antonio Colak, Tony goals again, scores, get his second. And he could have had a hat trick, couldn't he? A couple of chances that he were saved and were missed late on. But I thought Colak really was pretty good. So, obviously then Michael Beale then near the end of the game makes those substitutions. He makes 5 substitutions. And I think that kind of broke up the rhythm a little bit. All those players coming on, all those changes that were made, late on with, with obviously, you looked at who came off and who came on. Lundstrom came on, Hadji came on, Morelos came on, Scott Wright came on, Arfield came on. It really was I think it kind of disrupted the flow of the game a little bit for me. And but by that point, it didn't really matter. The game was over, 4-1. Alfie had a chance when he fell flat on his backside. But, overall, a very, very good performance. The players that really stood out for me, well, obviously, you've got to say the biggest one that stood out for everyone would be Antonio Colak. I think Colak has really, earned that starting jersey now. I think that is his jersey to lose. 2 goals in this game. He certainly is someone who I think, is going to be hard for Alfie to push out. And I think, realistically, is Alfie going to be here next season? Is he going to appear next season? Well, he doesn't seem fit to me. Doesn't seem 100% committed this season. Perhaps it is time for us to move on from Alfie. Colak is up to 13 goals in 21 games now. I think he's one of those players that if you give him the ball in the box, you give him the chance to score, he will score goals for you. And I think he's showing Michael Beale and the Rangers fans he is the man for next season. Also, I thought this young man had a very good game indeed. Dodgy hair, but great performance. Played a different type of game, didn't he, to the Kilmarnock game? Was willing to fill in at the back. When Tav and Barner went forward, him and Raskin, or him and Jack seemed to drop back in and help out there. His passing was very good. His vision was very good. He had a cross as well into the box to create a chance. He did very, very well indeed, I thought, Cantwell. And there was a time, when he had the ball and he was on the floor and he still managed to beat 3 players. So I thought Todd Cantwell played very, very well indeed. And again, that midfield of Cantwell, Raskin and Jack, that should be the midfield now through to the end of the season. I think they are by far the best midfielders we have at this moment in time at the club. You look at them and they're exceptionally talented. I know we've got Malik Tillman, but Tillman could easily fill in place of Sakala, or he could fill in place of Ryan Kent. And I'll talk a bit about Ryan Kent shortly. Who else I thought had a good game? Well, I thought Nicholas Raskin again. I thought he was great, fighting, battling. Every time he got the ball, he seemed to want to go forward, pass the ball forward. He filled in well in defence. He helped, keep the moves flowing. His passing was excellent. I thought Raskin was very, very good indeed. Fashion Sakala. Like I said, I thought he did very well. A couple of assists and a goal tonight. Fashion's one of those hit and miss players, isn't he? I thought he was very, very good tonight. He's on, and he had other times, and he fell over his own feet. He is someone who, I think, like I said, he's a bit like. I heard a great analogy on the Rangers Rabble podcast where they said. Andy Cole, who was a fantastic striker for Newcastle and Manchester United, was one of those players who, if he had time to think, he usually messed it up. Whereas when he didn't have time to think, he usually scored. And I think Sakala is one of those players, when he has less time to think about it, he is a lot better. And tonight, I think he worked on instinct, he worked on his pure skill and his ability. And I think that came out tonight, And if you look at his stats this season, 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 goal contributions in 19 games, that is superb for Fashion. And I think, he did really, really well tonight. Obviously, for me, I think this young man, not so young anymore, but this guy, Ryan Jack, I thought was absolutely superb tonight. He absolutely owned that midfield. He ran the game. He filled it in defence. He broke up play. He got forward. He helped create the Sakala goal. He was just absolutely superb. And when he's fit, he's got to be in the team. There's just no doubting. And I know injuries have held him back, and I know that his availability is not always great, but he was absolutely superb tonight. And I thought Ryan Jack was my man of the match. I thought he was absolutely brilliant tonight. And I think, he's out of contract in the summer. I do think we need to offer him a new deal. I do think we need to keep him at the club. He is one of the best midfielders in this club and the best holding midfielders. He really does go and create for Rangers. So Ryan Jack, I thought was absolutely superb. Ryan Kent is a strange one. I thought, some of his ability to run at players was good. Some of his passing, his flicks were good, but he just seemed to lack an end product. And that's something that is a concern, I think, for next season, and maybe a reason why Rangers shouldn't hold on to him and Alfredo Morelos going into next season. That is obviously something worth thinking about, I think, for the club. Obviously, they've got Malik Tillman, which obviously I think, will cost us £6 million to sign Tillman. And maybe the re-signing of Tillman does depend on whether we keep Kent or not. But I do think that, that Kent maybe needs to add... Maybe his lack of finishing, his lack of ability to finish chances off is something that will hold him back, and has held his career back a little bit. But overall tonight, really pleased with the result. Really good result. Good football. Probably the best football that's been played for a while under Michael Beale. Michael Beale spoke after the game. He said about, they played some fantastic football tonight. He also said this. He said, we regained a lot of the ball in the middle of the pitch in interesting areas. And I thought the front three were electric. We played well in the big spaces and down the side of them. The midfield three were fantastic. All three of them had really good games, as well as the two central defenders. And I think Michael is spot on with what he says there in the praise that he gives to the attackers and the midfielders. And Antonio Colak, he heaped praise on his teammates, even though it was him that scored two of the 4 goals. He said, for me as a striker, it could be better. But again, as a team, the effort we gave today was amazing. It was all about the intensity from the whole team, how we regained the ball, and the speed we went into the front area at. Him transferring obviously a lot of the credit to his teammates rather than taking somewhere for himself for scoring the goals. But overall, a fantastic performance from Rangers, a fantastic performance from Colak, from Raskin, from Sakala, from Cantwell, and in particular from Ryan Jack. Thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. It's been a pleasure speaking to you as always. Please hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and give this video a like. I'll be back to speak to you very soon here on Glasgow Rangers Nation.